It's September, the glorious month of September. Yeah.
Wow.
And well, we just commenced the journey into the famous Ember months, a further indication that 2021 is far spent.
So true, John. And it's also the final quarter in the year.
Yes.
And that tells us a lot. Some of us who are used to New Year resolutions, we find out how far we have gone. We are also advised to be extra careful during the Ember months.
Yeah.
Caution is in practically all areas of our lives, especially with the third wave of the COVID-19.
Yeah.
Increasing rate of kidnapping, crime, and so many other things that need us to have our eyes open and our attention, perfectly focused 2/7.
That's right. And well, perhaps it's it's time for us to, take stock.
Exactly.
Check on our resolutions.
True. Yeah.
Resolutions which we may not have actually followed. Right? So check on those resolutions and then plan for the year with a view to picking up speed in areas still requiring more work.
Yeah, at every point in time, there's need to check, there's need to adjust and all of that, so that by the time we're in December, we would have cause to celebrate.
Yeah.
On that note, I'd like to thank you. Thanks, John, by the way, for reminding me. And let's, at this point, officially open the show. And this show, every Saturday morning, we bring you a repeat on Sunday morning and also run the repeat on Saturday night. It's a program that we have put together for the family. It's family focused 110% if there's anything like that. And it's called Today with John and Helen on PlusTvAfrica. My name is Helen Ongma Odeleye, and that's my signature tune.
That's a signature
Ongma.
tune. And so on the program today, we take on education, traditional versus conventional. I'm truly yours, John Senaya, and welcome to another great conversation.
So true, John. We shall be asking the question today, a few questions. And one of them is traditional education now redundant? What is the relevance or advantage of unconventional education? And then we will have Pharaoh Owotomo also asking lots of other questions as she takes on her guests on the area that she has couched out on life-based learning.
Life-based learning. Okay, it's time to pause for some messages, and when we return, more on the program.
Thank you. Thanks for your company. It is said that education is a passage to progress. It is a way to securing our future actually, as it brings a natural and lasting change in an individual's reasoning and ability to achieve targeted goals. And that is way beyond my understanding of education.
You're sounding
So it's
like
good. It's good to read. You know, I
You're
read.
sounding like a teacher.
I went to school last night.
So, Helen, so we would like to know,
Yeah.
among other things, who is really educated, especially with our epileptic system of education in Nigeria.
Yes.
Who is educated?
Okay. I wish I knew. I thought I was. Just the normal understanding of it is if you went to school, if you had the privilege of going through the nursery, the primary, and now they have the prep and the preschool, that's, and then the secondary school and the university and then second degree and all of that. The four walls of the university, the structured presence of being learning and being, I don't know. Is it the English
Taught.
becomes...
Tutored. But what,
So I used to think that was it.
How come
you know.
you're concentrating on the formal education?
Because
What about the family units, the contribution of what we used to learn at home, you know, within the family unit? You know, it also counts. This is a lot. And I think these days, that's dwindling very fast.
that's almost not absent. And we're reminded a lot of the times by the owners of schools and those who tend to the young ones, you know, that they spend more time really in school. And that's why right now I question why when the children are on holidays, 1 week of break, and then there's summer school, and they're back
So
in
they have
school.
to go back to school.
Yes, and I'm like, allow these kids now to bond a little bit with the family. You know, they spend more time with you when the school is in session.
Anyhow,
So who really is an
educated.
educated or an illiterate person?
I'm sure we're going to unbox that very soon. Yes. Any other thing you want to talk about?
No, that's good. So much, you know, it's better not to dwell on a lot of things happening in Nigeria at this point in time. I think we should just flow along and
Let's just dive into the
continue
topic.
to pray to God for life,
Yeah.
you know, for stability, for unity, and for security of
All
lives
of
and
that?
properties. Yes, all of that.
Okay.
You know, if you want to pick them one after the other, it depresses. And these days, I'd like to just keep cherry. Like today is your birthday, John. Ah, okay. We'll talk
So you
about that
licked
later.
it. Yes, today is my birthday, and all I have to say is thank God, regardless.
Yeah, for the breath
Yes.
and for good health.
Yes, thank God.
Yeah.
So I thank God for adding on another year today.
Okay, so we're back to the crux of the matter, and that is education, traditional versus conventional. My guess is that is our best subject matter, and that's why she's here. And our first guest is truly a guru in this matter, a change agent who is very passionate about educating Nigerian children. Specifically, she's CEO, Global College Online.
Abolaji Osime, that's our guest. She's also founder of Education for All Nigerians, EFAN, a co-founder and trustee, Education Reform Innovation Team, ERIT. Yeah?
Yes, and our guest is currently serves on the Lagos Transition Committee, developing an education strategy for Lagos. She's done that even across the country. And she's also CEO and founder, Global International College, a secondary and sixth form college with branches here in Lagos and Abuja.
Well, her mission, like we hear, is to use her passion, her creativity, and experience to help transform public and private education, thereby unlocking opportunities through education empowerment and entrepreneurship. Abolaji Osime is our first guest. And my singular honor to welcome you to this program, madam.
Thank you so much, Paul. Thank you, Helen.
Thank you
Really
for
glad
coming
to be
on the
here.
show.
Thank you.
Thank you. I hope we did justice to your CV.
Yes, you
There's
did.
a lot
Although-
more that we dropped here and there.
Yeah, although I was on the transition, so it's not current. It was when the governor was coming in that I was on the
Okay.
transition.
Okay.
So I just did that for about a few weeks, just to sort of set a strategy for Lagos State. So now we're working with Lagos State, with the Honorable Commissioner
Okay.
of
On
Lagos
a
State.
regular
Transforming,
basis.
no, we're transforming 10 schools in District 6.
Okay,
So we're looking
private?
at, no, public.
Public
Government schools.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Ikeja Oshodi area. So we're working with them to transform the schools.
Okay.
Just
We'll
to
come
make
to
sure.
that. We'll come to that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's dive into it, because actually we've lost a few
True, we
minutes,
have.
and precious minutes too. Now, many are complaining.
Yes.
I hope you agree, or at least they're quite worried about our educational system in Nigeria. Today, global changes in human behavioral patterns, fueled by maybe evolving technological trends from everywhere, seem to have altered expectations and results. Now, could you kindly highlight some of these developments to us?
Yes, I always say, because I've worked with government a lot, during Dr. Ezekosili, I was one of the consultants in 2007 when we were trying to reform the system. Way back then, we knew that the system had collapsed. In fact, it was a crisis. What she called it was a crisis in education. And you can imagine that's over 10 years ago. What we have now, it's critical. Some of the things she said, and she was warning government about, is now happening. The crime rate, the kidnapping. Basically, our education is failing our students, for sure. It's obsolete. The kind of education we have was for the industrial time, where you were mass producing for the industry.
Yes.
So the education that teaches you just go to class, everybody's talking to you, you cannot even give feedback. And we're teaching digital natives now. So if you have an educational system that you have about 30 million who are out of school, cannot access education. You look at the university system, 1.9 million every year apply for JAMB. We can only give access to 600,000.
Wow,
so what
that's
happens to
the
over
other
a
half.
million?
Yeah.
So how can we say that education system is educating Nigerians? They don't even have access to what we have. And the ones that have access, when they come out, they're unemployable. So they are walking the street. We have in the age range of about 18 to 25, that range is about 60% unemployment. Right now, our poverty rate is 41%. A lot of our young people are on the streets. They're not employed. So the system is failing them. Because the system is focused on, you must go to university, you must achieve this particular whatever. A lot of students cannot go to private universities. It's too expensive. The public universities are full, and they don't have enough space. So that fallout is there, that we are not educating our future. Our talent is being wasted on the street. It's sad. It's sad to me every day when I'm going to my office to see young people selling recharge cards. We are China in the making. This is a country that has a massive labor force. Other countries go to China and use their labor force, but we are not educating our students. So that's the biggest problem we have.
What a way to take off! Because this picture
Gloomy.
is
Yes.
picture, it's worse than gloomy.
Yeah.
Yeah, Helen.
Okay, so education in the industrial age was tailored to help that era.
Absolutely.
And that's what you just mentioned.
Yeah.
Now, the results are clear. Now we are in the technological phase of man's evolution. What should we expect?
Obviously, last year when COVID happened, it was a terrible thing that happened. A lot of people died, but it was a welcome development to a lot of countries because it disrupted.
Yes.
So what we have been saying to government, that we needed to have technology. These are digital natives. Our young people in the last millennials were born with iPads in their hands.
Sure.
They were born using, that's the way they interact. So you cannot use the industrial to teach the 21st century child. And the economy is dictating what you should educate. Unfortunately, there's a massive disconnect between what the employer wants. So when you are interviewing for employment, you're like, what do I need your maths for? What do I need? Okay, all the stuff I learned in university, what have I used it for? So what we are preaching now is that we need to connect with the private sector and the employers. What are the skills you need? And then the academia must feed it back into their curriculum. We need a huge curriculum upgrade in Nigeria. We have 18 subjects. Students are learning 18 subjects at junior secondary school. So when you have such a massive syllabus, where do you get the creativity, the collaboration, all this 21st century skills that is critical for this economy? And that's why we have a high unemployment. Not that we don't have jobs. Employers will tell you that I need certain skills, but the universities are not. Universities are still teaching 19th century curriculum. That's the truth. They don't like to hear it, but I would say it. That guys, lecturers, how many times have you gone to the workplace? How many times have you talked to a Cadbury? How many times have you talked to the banks? The banks are all fintechs. They're all using technology. So there's no point just, teaching them what's... At the end of, why do you go to university for 4 years and pay so much money when the outcome is that you're not going to get a job?
Yes.
Hence the reason why there's a huge dropout, even in secondary school. Because the kids are saying, at the end of the day, when I go and get all this degree, there's no job. Yeah. So what do we do? And that's why we say technology is going to help us to, do a lot of stuff to disrupt the whole thing, the whole system.
This is just coming to life as you're speaking, because we have testimonies, we have stories of loads of our children who go to school, first year, second year, third year, and they come home and say, no more. No more. Yes. I'm not going to school anymore. This is finished 5 years ago, 10 years ago. Yeah. They're nowhere. Yeah. And even if I finish and I get a job, how much am I going to earn?
That's right.
So true.
Yeah.
That's interesting. But you see, let's take a deep breath.
Yeah.
And try and see if we could pick a few things, from... We can't throw away, entirely even if it's just a structure or a few lessons, Of course, there will be certain key relevant lessons learned from the traditional system of education, and as practiced by our parents and possibly enjoyed by some of us. Yeah. How do we blend this into our new age?
That's exactly, it's the blended learning. Everybody's doing it. You use the right word.
How do we pick and
blend it? You know what COVID did for us? Because when COVID hit, the whole world needed to just pivot. So we didn't have a choice, and we pivoted online. And it was incredible. Yeah. And our kids were fascinated because they were in a place where they were comfortable. So you go online, you're doing your lessons at home. And that told us that the 13 million out of school can be educated wherever
online,
they are.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yes, so the government, it's for government to have the enabling environment in terms of infrastructure for internet. Once you have that, you don't need mortar and brick. Government cannot afford to educate all Nigerians. We're 200 million now. Out of that 200 million is 60%. We're a very young generation. Why do you think they're escaping to Canada? But so because they want us. So our government is spending money on us, and Canada is taking the students. And that's sad. So we don't have our talent.
Relatively, is the online cheaper?
Online, of course. We're working on what we started working on in global when we saw the trajectory and what was happening. So we have a learning management system. So what we're doing is uploading all the content. Everything is online now. Okay. All the work you need, all your videos. So teachers have recorded the lessons, everything. So it's now flipped learning. So a student can go home anywhere in the world, download the material, study in the comfort of your home, pass your exams, and you don't even need to enter a classroom to be educated. Okay, fine. All the people who are getting education, all the MOOCs now, MIT and Harvard went together and they have edX. Now, they floated edX. edX is floating degree courses online for Harvard at $5,000 or even less. And this is something you're paying $100,000 for. So you go on the MOOCs, on the online system, and you register for this, and then they shorten the courses. You don't really need 4 years. You don't really need 4 years for an education. It's too long. I want to get to the work. I want to start earning money. A lot of parents, particularly the very poor in Nigeria, the parents send them on the street. As soon as they come out of school, they go hawking. Yeah. So the parents are saying, we need these guys to be earning something. Yes. So what we're talking to government about is that we must integrate in-demand skills in education, even at junior secondary, senior secondary. So these young people have a vocation, so they can learn a trade whilst in school. So during the summer, they're earning for that. That's what we all did. I mean, I was in England and I worked. I was in school in England. During the summer, I worked. So when you work and have practical experience, that helps you to get employment in future. Because I'd rather have you have practical experience coming to me rather than coming fresh out of university without anything. True. Our universities are not doing internships. They're not going to the workplace. So we really must go back to the drawing board if really we want to educate our future. Because we're all going to pass away. That's why people in Nigeria think they're going to be here forever. Hello, somebody should tell them.
All right, as you were talking, it hit me. Online and all the attraction that come with it. Yes, for some of us, who are in the urban,
Yeah.
you know,
Absolutely, yes.
environment. What are the opportunities available for the children who are in the remotest part of, you know, our villages? Let's bring it right home.
Yeah.
In the various villages. Yes, the lecturers could have the laptops, and how do the children of the poor, you know, pick it up and benefit from this online?
Like I said, last year was a very a game changer.
Yes.
Every government needed to educate their children, and they couldn't come to class. Apart from the fact that they have such large classrooms, and guess what they did? They went on radio. They went on TV. They did WhatsApp. So radio reaches you anywhere. When you have all your curriculum, just like I said, we upload curriculum. So teachers are teaching videos. So we are watching television, for example. You have an educational, your channel has an educational channel. And on that channel, I can go anywhere I am to watch the programs, English language, maths, very critical. Or you go on radio and the teacher is teaching. So wherever you are, everybody has a radio. How much is it? And that's what they did. That's what government did. That's what Lagos State did. So people were getting educated. Their students were kept educated. And then teachers went on WhatsApp. They went on Facebook. We are a creative nation. We are just sort of a little bit controlled in terms of regulation. If the government allows us to do what we can do with what we have, honestly, this country will be something else.
Yes.
You cannot beat this country because we are entrepreneurial. We're very hardworking. We are the best when we go to other countries. So what's happening when we're here? It's just the enabling environment and allow the creativity to just, and these kids want that. I mean, look at what's happening in the technology industry. The other day, a couple of technology giants, Opay, raised $400 million. Now, its valuation is so much more than 5 banks in Nigeria. That's where the money is going. And government they're not paying attention.
Interesting.
We should be educating using technology skills, in-demand skills. Every sector needs technology now. Since last year.
Every sector.
And demand scale.
Has to be educated.
They have to be educated.
Now I'm going to switch.
Yes.
I'm going to switch in the sense that I have an interest for DEI.
Okay.
Diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Yeah.
And that takes me to the girl child.
Yes, absolutely.
And the girl child is a special breed for all of us. You have a girl. I have a girl.
I have a girl. She's brilliant.
So now let's look at the girl child. How much success has been achieved in the education of the girl child?
In the South, phenomenal. In the North, not so phenomenal. And that's what's sad, because I have a school in Abuja, and I've seen so many brilliant young girls. You know, God gives you a talent that is inborn. The school leader takes away from it or builds on it. That's the challenge. So it's not people come with, talents. Like Nigerians are fantastic engineers. Every country has its own. Indians are also very good in computer. Every country has inborn that they gifted us. So the girl child, unfortunately, because of the traditions, and it's changing in the North. We have some very forward-looking governors who are ensuring that there's inclusion, and they're ensuring that they're making, ensuring that when they're admitting, they are making provisions to make sure that the girl child is also the same number, just like in the South. In fact, in the South, you find more girls in school than boys. In the East, you find the boys that are the ones not going to school. In the North, it's the girls. But now things are changing because everybody's like shouting, if you educate a girl, you're educating a whole community. Yeah. Because she's going to make sure her children are educated. Yes. She's going to make sure everything is open. So that's why there's a push. So a lot of NGOs, a lot of foreign NGOs have come in and they've pushed their money. A lot of development agencies are pushing money towards the girl child. Good. And a lot is happening in that space. Great. And we have to watch it as well. Yes. Now we're encouraging them to be engineers. We're encouraging them to do, things that we need in Nigeria.
They would traditionally be...
they would traditionally just take maybe, okay, I'll do English, I'll do law. So even in my school, I said, guys, law, I'm a lawyer by profession. I asked the parents one time, I said, how much do you earn? How much, in your chambers, how much does a lawyer earn? 100,000. I asked another one, oil and gas, 2 million naira, first job. So my students who are all saying they wanted to be lawyer quickly changed their mind.
Can you imagine?
So that's why career planning,
I should try oil and gas too.
No, it's not too late. You can do that.
Students are coming out of secondary school now in Nigeria joining a lot of the tech hubs. There's the one in Yaba,
Yes.
and they're training them for 3 months, 4 months, AI, data sciences, and they're getting jobs in Silicon Valley for $3,000
Great.
a month.
Great.
So that tells you traditional education, you know, there's something to education for sure, to do the traditional, because there's also the fact that you have to interact. When you're on campus, when you're in school, that you cannot take away from having a teacher teaching
The person to person.
person to person, having friends, networking, and friends that you be. But we just want them to blend it, to bring the new into the old and blend it and prepare them for the fourth industrial revolution, which is the technology space. We need to do that critically because all our corporates are employing people from abroad to come and do the jobs Nigerians are supposed to do. And only just because they haven't been given the right skills. And it's so easy. 3 months, 4 months, you can get the right skill and your salary jumps 5 times.
All right, government providing the enabling environment. Let's look at the family.
Yeah.
You know, the family unit at this point. We could say that the family has failed to some extent in this regard. Speak to us about the role and the impact, you know, that the family has, first of all, to refocus the attention of the young boy, the young girl of today, you know, even in these areas, for them to be able to benefit from it and impact the general society.
Yes, that's such a good question, and that's something that really bothers me a lot, you know, now. Just, you know, I'll be walking around. We had a summer program. Some company came to do it during the last few days. In my school, I emphasize respect. When I was growing up, there's no way you're going to pass my mother and not greet her. Who born you? So you find kids that just nod to you.
Yes.
I mean, like, I'm Yoruba, so I say to them, come, you are Yoruba. Do you know what you need to do? Courtesy. Do you know what you need to prostrate? So the family, unfortunately, have missed this. We have not passed down the values our parents gave to us, to our children, and we think we are it. We think we have arrived. But unfortunately, we're doing an injustice to these kids. Because the culture of Nigeria is critical. We must maintain the culture. We must maintain the values, the integrity. So when they go out, they can stand their own. They don't have to be like the American to be calling you names or whatever. This is our culture. You're a Nigerian. So families have a very vital role in educating their children. It starts with the family. They cannot abdicate their responsibility to schools, to educate us.
Yes.
It's too much stuff. Our teachers are just so tired. Because you are looking at a child and the child is just talking anyhow to you. I'm like, where did you come from? And you cannot beat. God help you beat. They will call lawyer on you. They'll call, yes, so parents. Hey, why did you beat? I said, excuse me? Hello?
Yes.
Then you do the beating at home. So we need parents, particularly mothers.
Yes.
Fathers are busy. Okay, mothers are busy now because everybody's earning money. But at the same time, take your time. This is your child.
Yeah.
This is somebody that is going to be your ambassador. This is somebody who's going to look after you when you are old. Yeah. So please, even if it's weekend, when they come back home, check their homework. Talk to them. Find out how school is. A lot of kids are depressed. They're going through stuff that their parents don't know. All they want is bring that A home. Is it just to bring A?
How do you get
You know, a lot of them are in isolation last year. A lot of them had issues because they were isolated. They didn't have their friends around them. So the family has a very vital role.
Yes.
In terms of the morals, in terms of the values, even in terms of showing interest in your... My parents were so big on that. My mother taught me, so I didn't even have a choice.
And counseling, you know, the direction to go.
Very, very
You know
important.
what? It reminds us of the Japanese,
Yes.
the Chinese,
Absolutely.
who have been able to,
Yes.
you know, keep
Inculcate,
some of their
yes,
values.
absolutely.
You know.
Okay, John.
Well,
While we're waiting to look at the Japanese and
the Chinese.
taking this conversation to the next level,
Yeah.
the director is saying to me, can we take a break
let's take a break.
so that the guests can breathe?
So we'll
All
take
right?
a break now.
So let's take a very quick break. Don't forget, we're looking at education, the traditional versus the conventional. It's not which one is better. Our position here, we must find a meeting point for the two to become active and relevant. We'll be back in just a moment. Okay, so welcome back to the program today with John and Helen. It is, and we're focusing extensively and exclusively on education. We're looking at formal or traditional versus conventional. And Abolaji Osime still has so much more to share with us. I was just going to leak a secret before we came back on the break. I'll keep that. I was just going to say, in my days when I was going to school, I never remembered one day that my dad called me or my mom called me and said, look, eventually when you finish this phase, this is how you're going to go, and this is the course to focus on. You know, we just drifted from one level to another and found us where we are. Today. And it's just by the grace of God.
Absolutely.
Now everything has to be programmed and planned, you know, very well.
Yeah.
The children of nowadays are lucky, very, very blessed. Okay, so we turn our attention to teachers. Are we having the right pegs in the right holes? So much noise. I remember sometime when this new dispensation, specifically the Kaduna State governor, he's like he sacked almost a lot of the teachers and found that they were not the right ones.
The challenge is, you know, when government wields the big stick, they don't seem to get it that they caused the problem. Because at the end of the day, who educated these teachers in the first place? Your colleges of education are moribund. Okay. They're moribund. You are the one that trained them now, for crying out loud. So what are we talking about? So and what we have been saying is that reform your colleges of education to ensure they train. There was a time, I think it's been changed. There was a time I know, at least 10 years ago when we were doing the reforms, a teacher just needed to have 3 credits in WAEC to come to College of Education and end up in front of a student who is supposed to be a president tomorrow. So how can you teach what you don't have? True. So when they say they are sacking them, instead of saying you're sacking them, why don't you go back to where the root of the problem is and resolve it? Go to federal government, look at the College of Education, because this same College of Education is the one churning out all the teachers. For private sector, we have the challenges everywhere. And with private sector now, we can improve by doing a lot of professional development. So we train the teachers a lot. But it shouldn't be like that. And that's the same thing as universities. So when they come out, they go to corporate, go to banks, and the banks have to retrain them. Yeah. Meanwhile, they've gone through 4 years. So what's going on? And that's why I'm saying our educational system, whether it's College of Education, whether it's university, we are not paying attention to what we're teaching and how we're teaching. Teachers should, in any country, before you come in the UK, before you can have a certificate to stand, Finland, you have to have a master's. You have to have done research, because education is about research. And when you're able to research a lot of stuff, when you stand before the child, what you're teaching, it's so clear that you know your stuff. You cannot give what you don't have. So if you have not gone through that system and they put you in front of students, forgetting that these students are expecting that teacher to whatever. Yeah. Hence why online is so much better. Everything you need is on Google. So I don't need a teacher, frankly, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, we need teachers, and we're going to train our teachers. But the thing is, I'm trying to train my students to be independent learners. Go do your research yourself. Go into Google. Go into YouTube. If you want the best teachers in the world, they're there. So that's what has opened. So teachers also now have so much opportunity to be trained. And my teachers, I say, go for next to nothing. You can be trained from anywhere in the world.
But let's even look at the teaching profession.
Yeah.
The teaching profession has to be purpose-built.
Absolutely.
It's specifically fitted to, you cannot be someone who has not been able to get a job with your degree in
anywhere
in a usual or what your choice company, and then opt for teaching
as the last
because you don't have the structure.
What it takes,
You don't have it. You're not a teacher. And that is what we find these days. Yeah. How do we control that?
The best in Japan, in China, the best graduate school into teaching, the best. Because you have to say that, you are educated. My mother taught me. So we have to go back to putting the best in our class, making sure you must have excellent results in WAEC before you can even go to college education, maths and English, very important. And when you do change the curriculum, let it be what we're looking at, which is technology, digital-based. Teachers are trained on how to at least engage online. Because the teachers themselves get a lot of resources online. So they don't have to be bombarded with this massive syllabus. They can pinpoint their students and say, go into this app and go and learn and go and watch the video. So they give access to the student to have access to powerful lecturers in Harvard. So we cannot, the world is a flat place now. There's so much that we can do. So that's why we need to open up. We need to open up education and for our teachers also to be able to learn from other climes.
Now,
okay.
This topic, today's topic is so huge, so we have to just like hop from
one
end to the other.
Yeah.
Because what strikes me now is, okay, let's take it as a given that, okay, all of what we have said is in place.
Yeah, okay.
Our institutions are plagued by so much distractions and disruptions within the system. Strikes, cultism, and all of that. And these are clogs. Not even
The
potential
wheel,
clogs.
they're already there.
Real clogs in the wheel of progress for education in our country. What is happening? Is it that the government doesn't have the willpower to check these things? Strikes, cultism, all these vices that plague us as an educational system?
This is a very sensitive topic, and I'm very sorry for me, and it's very sad for me. Like last year, I was very frustrated because a lot of Nigerian students, over 2 million in university now, most of them didn't have access to education at all because a lot of the universities were not online. So they sat at home for nearly a year, where nursery students could go online. Nursery students were able to go online. So our higher education, I understand the fact that it's very expensive to run education in Nigeria, and the government really is trying in some senses, but the population is exploding. Nigeria is going to be 400 million by 2050. We're going to be the third largest country in the world. And yet we are not coping with what we have now. And yet we are burning and burning and burning, and nobody's restricting the burning, particularly in some areas of Nigeria. So we're having a lot of kids. So that's the challenge. So for me, it's the ASU, when the strike starts, they come and they say, we have not been paid and all of that. But at the end of the day, on the unfortunate students who are not able to go abroad for their studies or who are not able to go to private university are caught, and they are majority.
Yes.
It's only 6% of the students who are in higher education are in private universities. The others are in public universities. So they get hit all the time.
Yes.
And the challenge, and what government must know is that you are producing, if you do not look after these kids and they don't have an education, number one, you cannot build your economy. Because this is your talent. These are your young people that are going to build the economy. Number two, they're going to go into crime. Yahoo is big. And these kids will tell you that, what do you want us to do? That we don't have a job, we don't have skills, nobody's going to employ us. And we have to look after ourselves. Yes. So either we're going to kidnap or whatever. And that's the sad thing. So government must understand that with all the strikes that are happening and the fact that they're not agreeing with the lecturers what they're supposed to agree, it is actually the students who are taking the brunt of it. This is the future. And if anything at all, every adult in this nation should advocate for the Nigerian child. It is sad. They are leaving the shores. Every day they come and meet me. My students, if you know how the harassment, because we just finished exam, I need to get that visa. I need to go to UK.
Transcript,
I need to go to Canada.
Whatever.
Our talent, brain drain, plus capital drain. Everything is just following it. So they need to sort of, and like I said, decentralize. Let us have more private sector having more universities. That's one. Let us reduce the cost. To build a university in Nigeria, you need to have 100 hectares. That is a lot of money. What do you need 100 hectares for? That's the thing. So that actually is a barrier to more entrepreneurs building universities. We need 10,000 universities per week. That was what it was said by...
The institution I attended in England didn't have up to 1 hectare.
They were in buildings. They were in buildings. I went to London School of Economics. My professor used to go in the bus with me, in the double-decker bus. Yes. There was no whatever. It was a building. It was a building. So what are you doing 100 hectares for? What you need to invest in education is not the mortar and brick. It's the lecturers and the curriculum and ensuring that the students are getting the right skills. That's all.
Yeah.
But we still have that old mindset of big land, big this. So we are not educating them.
But you see, it's sounding, I don't know, I can't put it together, because more than 50% of the people who are in charge of policy making, education in the educational sector, there are people who've had experience, of how it works abroad.
Climes.
The kind of schools that you don't need all of the space to get good education.
Absolutely.
And that's why when you're talking about every day, some of your students come and tell you, we want to get out. Yes, it's almost like an old story. Across board, from the secondary schools, from the universities, they all want to go out. And we're losing them in thousands and thousands.
We're losing them, and it's sad.
What is the implication of this? Some people tell you they go out there when they work, they bring money to Nigeria, and it increases the revenue base of the country. But really, you're losing your people, the substance of this country. Talk to me about the relevance of this.
Yeah, apart from even the fact that, it's even the psychological effect that my country is not looking after me. I'm born in Nigeria, and was it a mistake that God made me a Nigerian? We all knew when we were growing up, we were so patriotic. We loved this nation. We didn't even travel. I didn't travel till I was in my late 16, 17. I love this nation. I could go out anytime. So what the way they look at us is that, and that's why, SARS happened. I mean, this, what was it, SARS? Yeah, that's why it happened. And they say to us that we are not doing anything about it, that our generation has failed them and all of that. So I would just appeal to government that because a lot of the people in government have their kids abroad, so they're not concerned about the poor. Unfortunately, the poor is the one getting the hits. Yes. Because if you do have your money, you will take your child abroad.
And the poor can't really afford it.
They can't.
That's why they must find whatever means it takes to be able to get the money
and they are majority. And they are majority. So if in every country, the government makes sure it looks after the poor, whether it's social welfare, whether it's social security, making sure that they have something so that they won't turn on them. If you don't look after the poor, they're coming after you.
True. And they're already coming after us.
They're doing it. Look at what's happening in even Lekki and all of the places. You're in your car, they're bringing guns out and all of that. So if government understands that I have to look after these young people and make sure they have a livelihood, just a vocational school that trains them for 3 months or 4 months on construction, bricklaying.
Skills.
Do you know how much, you studied in England, do you know how much bricklayers they have? Massive houses. They're one of the wealthiest. Just train them on these skills and put them, so many estates in Lekki, train them on this, people will employ them. Yeah. So just focus on what do I need in Nigeria, agriculture, train them and put them on the field. That's all they want. That's all they want.
There's a word that's been on the lips of a lot of Nigerians, government, states, and local government, youth empowerment. And it's really not defined. It's so bogus. It's so bogus. John?
It's so bogus, and I'd like to
go back home.
Turn my attention this time to a choice location for education these days. Not these days, it still started a few years now. Ghana.
Even Benin Republic.
Why or how did Ghana become choice destination for many parents these days to take their children? What are they doing right?
Ghana is a lovely place to go because it's just 30 minutes or 50 minutes by plane or whatever. But when you get there, there's such a marked difference. Of course, the population is not as big as Nigeria. But what I found with Ghana, because I went for a conference a couple of years ago, they understand that education is a bedrock. They understand that, and they drive it, and they put money in it. And their teachers are one of the best in Africa, as far as I'm concerned. Because I've seen them teach, I've seen them, when they used to come to Nigeria a lot, but they stopped coming. So Nigerian parents will go to the ends of the earth for the best education for their kids. Nigerian parents do not joke with the education of their children. They don't. So you find a lot of kids are even in German universities, because German universities are free. Some of them are free. In the Europe, Finland, they're free. So Nigerian, as far as they're concerned, we will go to where these young people will get education. And the beauty about them even going to Canada is that once you go to Canada, you get a 3 years post-graduation work permit. You can work immediately, you can start earning, and then you can get citizenship. So every country is fighting for Nigeria, Nigerian students, because they know that when we come, we're hardworking, Unfortunately, we are not fighting to keep our students back. That is the saddest thing ever. And a nation that is just not focusing on its future is in big trouble. So Ghana there is doing its best. Legon University, they're taking the kids. British universities are setting up in Ghana, and still the population there is still Nigerians. So everywhere you go, Nigerians are the ones. So we want education. We were trained to be educated. So what University of Ibadan, those top universities were top in those days.
In those days, yes.
If we focus carefully, I know that lecturers have to be paid and all of that, but if we focus carefully and say, look, can we overhaul the system? Let us even talk to the end users, the corporates, the employers, the parents. Let's have a stakeholders meeting together. How do we take this nation forward? Because if we continue the way we're going, honestly, I mean, it's a critical mess as far as I'm concerned. If we continue the way we're going. In the private sector, we are trying our best. We're trying to educate them, but it's so expensive. Government doesn't fund us. We get about 10 or 15 taxes all over the place that they're taxing us. So there's no way. So we can only do as much as we can. So it's for Nigerians to come to the table, drawing table, and say, we must look after the Nigerian child. The Nigerian child must be the best in the world, best educated, equipped, having the right skills. And let countries come and hire our labor. Let them come and bring their manufacturing. That's why they're going to Ghana. And they're leaving us. It's sad because, I mean, this population is massive. They want to come here. My friend in Silicon Valley said, I'm hiring in Nigeria now, remotely, because it's cheaper for me. But your kids do not have work ethics.
Okay. So as we get ready to wrap up this conversation, if I ask you for two very critical areas of concern that both government and private sector and whatever it is that we need to do to overhaul and get the best result in our educational climate and environment, what would they be? Just two.
I would say decentralized education. That's number one. Okay. Decentralize and upgrade and ensure that curriculum is fit for purpose and functional, so that the students can get jobs. Educate for employment. Make sure they can get jobs.
Thank you. John?
Abolaji Osime, this has been a phenomenal
Outing.
eye-opening, maybe in some cases heart-rending, session with you. And I do hope that we're going to have you back here, because I get a sense that, that sense that you haven't had your fill,
Yeah.
after a meal. And so before we move on to the next break, I think Helen and I want to personally thank you so much.
Thank you so much
for being here with us and for your contributions
Thank
to
you
this.
so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We wish you the best.
Thank you so much.
All right,
thank you very much.
Okay, so education is one thing. To be impacted is another. I have received impartation this morning on this show. Thanks once again, madam.
Thank you so much.
For giving us so much of you. Up next, we'll have a stopover at the gym with our Keep Fit instructor, John.
Yep.
Are you ready for that?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Always ready.
All right. Then right after that, the workout, we'll settle down with Pharaoh Owotomo, who will take a look at life-based learning with her guest, Tolagbe Martins. Still talking education. Traditional versus conventional. Don't go away. Let's join the Keep Fit coach.
And welcome to the fitness section of today's show. I'm Dolly Phillips at Alpha Fitness Studios in Lekki Phase 1. Now, today, as you can see, I'm on the floor. And you need a dining room chair as well. So grab one real quick and let's get to our workout. What are we doing? Legs under the chair. Let's start with our warm-up. Deep breath in and out. And in and out. Two more, in and out. Last one, in and out. Let's reach up and over. One, up and over. Two, good. Up and over. 3, last one, up and over. 4, stretch the side. 4, 3, 2, 1. Other side. 4, 3, 2, 1. And let's start. So, first workout, you're going to lie down. I'm lying down here. I'm going to bring my foot up and down, alternating. And your time starts now. Let's go. And up. That's 1. Change legs. Up and 1. Now we're focusing on those lower abs. Yes, that really hard to reach part of the stomach that just doesn't want to budge. That's what we're working on today. That's the major focus for today's workout. 2 more. 1 more. And relax. Now, legs outside the chair. We're going to clap above. Are you ready? In 3, 2, 1. Let's go. And up. Now, if you need to keep your knees bent, that's absolutely fine. Your focus should be to keep your lower back in the ground. So tilt your pelvis forward and keep that back on the floor. Ooh, you can feel the burn with this one. 3 more seconds. 2 and 1. Back to the first one. Both legs underneath that chair. We're sending it above the chair now. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Let's go. And up. Good. Alternate. And up. Now pull that knee into the chest. Yeah, so you really get those quads working as well. Keep going. This is fun. I like this one. We're lying down after all. 4 more seconds. Let's go. 3, 2, 1, and time. In and out on the side. Are you ready? In 3, 2, 1. Let's go. And out. And out. Pull those knees to the chest. That is super important. Come on. And out. And in. And out. And in. That's it. Keep going. No time. Go. That's it. 3, 2, 1. One leg above, one leg below. We're working. In 3, 2, 1. Let's swap over. This is hardcore. In. Don't kick that chair over. Come on. Make it work. That's it. Let's go. Ay, ay, ay. You can feel this one. If you want to intensify that workout, look at your legs and what they're doing. Yes. And rest it. Okay, from here, I'm going to send my legs over and back down to the floor. Ready? Let's go. No need to straighten your legs. Keep it bent. And down. Good. And over. And down. And over. And down. Teasing that stool as though you're going to drop your legs, but you're not. And down. Take it over. Awesome. Quickly, 1 more. And time. Now we're doing the opposite. We're sending it down now. You ready? In 3, 2, 1. Both legs through. In and to the chest. That's it. In and to the chest. Ooh, this one. Really hitting those lower abs right there. Come on. In and to the chest. Don't stop. Try your best. If you want to make it harder, look at your legs. Don't let your feet touch the floor. 1 more. And time. Knees to the chest. And relax. Last one. Let's go. Over. We're only going to do 5 of these here. 2. Come on, 1 more. 3. 2 more, I lied. 4. Last one now. And 5. Hold it there and stretch. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pull one leg out. Yes, keep one down there. And reach to the side. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Repeat the same on the other side. Let's go. 3, come on. 2, and 1. And relax. Side stretch. Other side. Deep breath in and out. Last one, in and out. Wow, that was awesome. Thanks for joining me today, and I hope to see you soon. Bye-bye. Thank you, John and Helen. Learning is one of the most important things in life, and there are different forms of learning that we all go through at different stages in our lives. And I personally believe that one of the most important forms of learning is life-based learning. Because for me, this form of learning has shaped who I am today. This is not to say that the other forms of learning are not as important. They are, especially as they form the foundation for all types of learning. And with me to talk about what life-based learning really means and what its value to us is Tolagbe Martins, a communicator and connector with an 18-year career spanning aviation, healthcare, events and corporate hospitality, and latterly consulting on public-private partnerships. A 2-time graduate of the London School of Economics and Political Science, she has leveraged her education in organizational social psychology to assist individuals, brands, and agencies develop business processes to meet their objectives through strategy and communication. In 2020, at the start of the pandemic, Tolagbe started TM Grammar Ministry, a consulting service that supports individuals and organizations looking to communicate with clarity. Welcome, Tolagbe. It's an honor to have you here with us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
So, life-based learning. But first, as TM Grammar Ministry, did I make any mistakes?
No, you didn't. That was really well done.
Awesome. Awesome. So, life-based learning, what is it?
So there are a number of schools of thought about learning generally. And I think it's probably best to start with what kind of learning is there. We talk about academic learning. We talk about vocational learning. And we talk about, how we cope with new and sort of, evolving information.
Okay.
So life-based learning would generally function or focus on the fact that the world continues to change, and so you must adapt, and you must sometimes deploy new tools and new techniques in order to be able to cope, or in fact, in order to be able to thrive.
Okay. Develop new tools and techniques in order to be able to thrive.
Yes.
So continuously learning.
Absolutely.
Until you die.
Honestly, that's the only way that we can thrive. We already know, for example, that picking up a new tool or new skill helps to improve the way that your neurons and your pathways work.
Okay, please, can you break that down for people who don't know about neurons and pathways?
So information travels through our brains, through neural pathways, right? So when you learn...
What is a neural pathway?
It's the mechanism, or it's the biology of the brain, or the biology of the nervous system.
Okay.
So when you are learning a new skill, you are training new pathways.
New parts of your brain.
New pathways, and you're activating new parts of your brain.
Right. Training new pathways and activating new parts of your brain.
Or training old parts of your brain to do new things.
Okay, that's a bit simpler to understand.
Yes, you're training your brain to do new things. It's like building muscles, it's like going to the gym, right? You're training. What are you doing? You're tearing away at your muscles, and when they come back, they're a little stronger. That's how you bulk up.
Okay.
So it's the same thing.
At this point, I need to tell our guests that Tolagbe has always been an A-class student.
So I'm a nerd, and
She
I'm
is a nerd,
really
actually.
pleased that being a nerd has become like helpful, because what it is in the modern world, and this is what we're saying, we've moved from what they call the information era to like a knowledge era. And what we have found is the people who can succeed tend to know a little about a lot.
Very true. Very, very true. Very, very true.
And if you have an attitude of life-based learning, that will be you. So you'll read widely. You'll ask questions. I know you and I look at young people today and look at how they can answer any question. Because we're from an unusual generation, because we had an analog childhood.
Yes.
And digital, increasingly digital adolescence, and now fully digital adulthood.
Yes.
Okay? But anyone born possibly after the year 2000 has only ever had a digital. Of course, this is within, a specific subset of society. But the fact still remains that our access to information is unprecedented.
So does that fall under... It's actually going to take me to my next question. Does that access fall under conventional education, unconventional or vocational education, or life-based learning?
So this is my thing. I honestly feel that those categories are somewhat arbitrary.
How so?
Okay. Academic education should be the foundation.
Okay.
Because what that's teaching you is teaching you numeracy, to count, manipulate numbers.
Okay.
It's teaching you literacy, to read, and not just to read, to infer, to draw conclusions, right? Once you are fully numerate and fully literate, you should be able to access any information that you require. So whether it's vocational, to learn life skills, and some of those should be actually happening as you are advancing.
Okay.
So life skills such as getting dressed, grooming, those are things you learn at the same time. You learn pari passu with growing up. Learning how to take care of yourself, learning how to avoid harm, those kinds of skills. Social skills, interacting. Where would that fall under if you leave it as just 3 blocks?
I see.
You see what I mean? So I think that they are intertwined in some way. And I think it's important that we recognize that. So the formal learning is your baseline. Vocational and life skills should happen alongside. So by a certain age, every child should be able to make breakfast, should be able to prepare a simple meal. I think vocational skills, survival skills, everyone should be able to feed themselves. Right?
Very true.
Everybody should.
Very
in this
true.
modern age.
Very
right?
true.
There's no such thing as a gender role when it comes to getting fed.
But
I
some
think.
people may just starve.
Exactly. So the fact that no one should starve from not being able to prepare a meal, right? Everyone
That
should.
is a life-based learning right there.
Absolutely.
You just actually told people who don't know how to cook, at least learn the basics.
Yes, you should be able to provide yourself with a basic meal. And if you are literate and numerate, you should be able to follow a recipe, right?
Okay.
You should be able to follow a recipe. You should be able to access a YouTube tutorial on how to do certain things. And this is the beauty of it. Back to what I was saying. This information is now available in an unprecedented way. We've never had this much information at literally the touch of a button.
Very true. Very true. So at different stages in life, based on what you've just said now, there are different life-based learnings that we go through.
Yes, of course.
So is there a point at which we stop learning?
I think this speaks to something that's very popular in sort of coaching speak now, where we talk about mindsets. We talk about a fixed mindset and we talk about a growth mindset, right?
Okay.
So a growth mindset would leave you open to new ways of doing things, interested and curious about how do we do this, how do we access information, right? Because technology doesn't wait for people, so it continues to evolve.
Okay, I see what you mean.
So let's talk about people who were coding in the 80s, because there were coders in the late 80s and 90s, right? And they were using computers the size of almost a small generator. if you have continued to code, what would happen? You'd have to learn new languages.
What is coding even?
It's a form of design. It's a language. It's how you instruct and you design software.
Okay.
So you are looking at your favorite social media platform and you see an interface. You just see like a nice
Interface
screen.
being
what you
see.
Yes, you see the screen, you see the like button, you see the share button. But someone has designed all of that and built it using code.
I see. Okay.
Right? So when you press the button, there's a code that says when that button is pressed, do this. When they swipe up, do this. When they press X, do this. Everything is coded for. Every possible action has an instruction.
So let me even simplify it further. It means that even as human beings before computer era, we all did coding, but it was just called something different. When you're growing up, your parent teaches you how to do certain things. If you do X, you get Y. It's a type of coding, no?
Yes, absolutely. So I'll tell you something about that. We talk about memes today, right? And today when we talk about a meme, we're referring to like a hilarious image with a caption, so on and so forth. But like in the olden days, and I mean literally about 25 years ago, a meme referred to a form of behavior which would be adapted by a population. And so you start doing something. So even like a trend, imagine when people started wearing their caps to the backwards. So that would have started as a meme. So a meme used to refer to behavior that was adopted. It was introduced into the population and then became adopted by everyone. Now we use it to refer to images that we share that are hilarious and that have taken on a meaning of their own. But that wasn't what a meme was before. And that's an example of learning, right? When I was in university, meme was a behavioral meme. I've had to learn that that's not what it means anymore.
I see.
And I think that's probably part of my fascination with language and grammar in and of itself. Because, again, part of your life-based learning is how words don't mean the same thing in different cultures, in different times.
Yes, very true, very true.
So something is sick.
Yes.
We just all found out that means it's good, right?
Good, yeah.
But then when we were young, something was bad and it was good.
Yeah.
So you see the same underpinning thought process, but the language has changed.
So that again then goes to what you were saying about mindsets.
To communicate, don't say, please, I don't know what you mean by sick, but you do know what they mean, because when you were that age, it was bad. So this is what I mean. Like, nobody is saying you should use their slang, but you should certainly try to understand it.
What it means.
Yeah.
And that even goes to being able to effectively communicate.
Absolutely.
With people of a different generation.
That is so critical. And I think we're going to find out that the more successful people are people who are able to adapt themselves, right? When I talk about effective communication, one of the things I try to explain to people is the most important thing is to be understood. There's no point so I'm a doctor and I'm going to do an outreach in the market and I want to talk about healthy behavior and I want to talk about changing dietary changes and, lifestyle changes. There's no point in me going in there and talking about, your cardiovascular health and how that's not helpful. You've got to break down the concepts into language that is simply understood.
But how does this connect to life-based learning?
In that case, you're going and you're literally showing a cohort that certain behavior they've been used to, that they've taken for granted, is no longer appropriate.
I see.
Life-based learning, at a very base level, will tell you that you could drink all weekend and still get up and go to work on Monday. But after a certain time, life will show you that you cannot.
You cannot. Very, very
Exactly. You will learn that.
Or you could go clubbing
be on your feet dancing for 6 hours like we used to.
Absolutely.
Go to work in the morning
Exactly.
and still be
But
bright-eyed.
life will show you that you cannot do that anymore.
Very, very true.
So, I mean, of course, we're being a little flippant, but that's the truth, right?
Yeah, it is.
Learning to adapt to the new realities on ground, whether it's aging bones, whether it's a reduced tolerance, whether it's, new information, new technology, adapting so that you are able to, and I want to say, I'm focusing on not just coping, I'm dealing with mastering and being able to thrive under those circumstances.
So to make it more succinct for people, are there techniques to learning as one grows older and life evolves? So when we're talking about life-based learning, things you learn as you grow older and as the world continues to evolve, are there certain techniques that we can take away to help us thrive?
So I think a lot of this requires some self-analysis. We talk about different ways to learn, for example. We talk about visual learners, auditory learners, spatial learners. Okay, just to name a few of the list of the different ways in which people learn effectively. I personally am a visual / writing learner.
Okay.
Right? So what does that mean? So I still use pen and paper. Okay? I still use pen and paper to make sure that as effectively as possible, I am almost imprinting the information on my brain. And so what I used to find was in exams, when I'm recalling something, I would see the page in my mind's eye of the notes that I had taken. Okay? Some people are auditory learners. Okay. So they do well with podcasts, with ebooks, with having the text repeated. You hear about people who have whole books and they drive and they're listening to their favorite passage, their Bible passage, their memory verse. Other people still need to read and write it. Other people can deal with images and charts. And so in order to be a successful lifelong learner, one of the things is to unlock how best you learn so that you consume information in the way that will best work for you.
And I have just learned something there because I have a lot of audiobooks on Audible. And the truth of the matter is, it's not all of them that I actually absorb. Like you, writing is very important. I remember more when I write things down. So my life-based learning there would be stop wasting your time buying Audible books and start reading actual books.
So my initial hack for that would be pause when you've listened to a bit and write down what you recall. Okay. Make it an active process. This is also the thing about learning. Process. It should be active.
Okay.
Like people feel like, they can just, no. You still need some activity. That is part of how it helps to reinforce it. So, we teach children some things still need repetition.
I see.
You cannot learn to count by downloading it. You still have to sound out the numbers.
I see.
I have a 6-year-old.
I see.
We're going through the times table. Some things still need rote learning, and will always need rote learning. No matter how much you understand, there's a move with numeracy to talk about numbers and how you know what they are. Yeah. But if they still need to wake you up and say, 6 times 7? The only way that you could have memorized that, know it, at the click of a finger is by memorizing it.
I see. Okay. That is it's actually interesting because this was a challenging topic.
Yeah.
But I think that it's actually been quite insightful.
I'm glad. I hope so.
Yeah, I think it has. And it's definitely showed everybody that you can still be a nerd and you can still be
cool.
Beautiful and cool all of that.
Nerds are cool.
That's really, really awesome.
Or nerds can be cool. Look, nerds are the reason we have devices. They're the reasons we have gadgets. They're the reason we have social media.
Very true.
All of that
very
is thanks
true.
to nerds.
Very, very true.
So Don't hate the nerd in your class. Make friends with the nerd in your class. They could be the next Zuckerberg, next Jobs, next.
Very, very true.
You know.
Very, very
Let's even
true.
talk about the Nigerian nerds that are building, you know.
They're building lots of wonderful
Building lots
things,
of wonderful unicorns in this space.
Yep. And on that note, we've actually come to the end of the session.
Thank you so much.
And it really has been awesome having you here. And I really hope that some of our viewers have taken away some nuggets of information that can help them on their journey to continuous learning. Particularly, you have to keep learning to be able to thrive. And it's all about your mindset. So thank you so much for watching. Please stay tuned because in a few minutes, John and Helen will be wrapping up the show. Thank you.
That was another, interesting session with Pharaoh and her guest on the show today with John and Helen. We have looked at so many angles, as we talked about education, the traditional one versus the conventional kind of education. We're almost rounding up, John. Mm-hmm. Your nugget, does it have anything to do with learning, getting educated?
The nugget itself is a learning tool.
Okay.
So it's to teach public speakers or people who engage with audiences, on one or two tips, of public speaking, so to say.
So what's the nugget?
So today's nugget is this: engage your audience in what-if situations. It works.
Okay.
What-if situations. Now, we have different ways of, opening our speeches, opening our presentations, like storytelling and all of that, right? So the option that I'm giving you today is one that says you should use the what-if situation. What if an elephant walked into this room and we all had to scramble under our chairs? It allows the audience, to paint a picture. It takes the place of the storytelling. So what ifs allows you to settle in with your presentation or your speech. It allows the audience to connect with you faster, easier, because the first few seconds, are the most important in any speech delivery. So what if situations, that's the option for us today, and that's our nugget. Yeah. Helen, I can see you're rolling it in your head.
I'm just looking at how you're working, and people are expecting you to say, well, the subject of our discussion today is XYZ,
yeah.
And you give them a story.
You give them a what-if situation.
A what-if situation,
yeah,
of course.
What if Helen was
attention grabbing.
What if Helen was 10 feet tall? So it engages them.
Imagination running wild.
Wild.
Excellent.
It allows them to paint pictures in their minds.
Wow, wow, wow. I wish Pharaoh, were here. Her seat is empty. She's not here this morning to do the final bye-bye on the show because she's busy somewhere. She'll join us next week. We're almost wrapping up the show.
We are actually wrapping up.
And I have thoroughly enjoyed today's program, and I hope you have too. The two guests we've had have set out some agenda and some very critical areas of concern that both government and individuals need to begin to work on so that we can get our educational sector running again.
Yeah. So it's been Today with John and Helen. Remember, every Saturday, 9:15, yes?
Yeah.
With a repeat at 10:30.
Sunday morning. Saturday night and Sunday morning.
Sunday morning, where?
9:30.
So we'll see you again.
Before we say bye-bye to our viewers, I have a parting gift for you. On your special day. No, it's not a physical gift, though. Because I know
you
that...
You want to give me a hug?
Because I know that you are you are someone who loves women a lot. Ladies, not women as such. You're an advocate for everything that is positive and beautiful for the women folk.
Yes.
And today, I heard on the news that the traditional rulers somewhere in the south have come together to say no more to female genital mutilation. excellent news. Does that make you happy?
Oh, of course.
Okay.
Certainly.
Okay.
Certainly.
So that's my birthday gift to you. I got you there. Not what if.
Yeah,
I'm sure you were not expecting that at all.
I was looking for a hug, but it's all right.
Okay.
So,
from a distance, happy birthday.
thank you.
That's all right.
And see you all again.
Thank you for being a part of the show this morning. I'm Helen Onwadele. It's always a pleasure. Have a wonderful weekend.
Bye-bye now.